Week 11 in the Always Sunny in Sayreville League, and it was moving day for the playoff hopefuls. Injuries this week. First and foremost, we haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. Gruesome injury, possibly career-threatening. Alex Smith, broken leg, horrendous. We wish him all the best. Done for the year. Hopefully not done for the career. O.J. Howard, he is done for the year. Definitely not done for the career. It's a shame. He was having a good year, a great young player at a position that we need great young players. We will see you again next year, O.J. Kerryon Johnson is going to be needing Thanksgiving off because it hasn't happened yet. He got injured in Week 11 and is not expected to play on Thanksgiving. Jimmy Graham, however, is expected to play despite breaking a finger. I think he broke his thumb, and he is going to try and play through it because he is a straight baller. Sammy Watkins, also a baller, tried to play through his nagging foot injury in Week 11, made it through like 2 plays. So there you go. Okay, so the matchups in Week 11 could not have set up any better to shape the playoff picture as the season wanes. And the Week 12 matchups are equally as delicious, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Toddler Fight Club has been ahead of the points race for pretty much as long as anyone can remember, and the season crown seems like a foregone conclusion. The only thing that can stand in the way of a first round bye is those pesky drunken bums who somehow keep winning games. TFC will have to falter in the win column to create an opening for the division to be stolen. That stumble did not happen this week, as TFC was TCB versus RBH. Despite starting a 0, Toddler Fight Club was able to secure a much-needed win against top competition with another stiff test on the horizon. One team who was unable to secure their much-needed win on this weekend was the Bootleg Crableg. Coming into this contest locked in a 4-way tie at the back of the bracket, the Bootleg Crableg scored the lowest total of the week and their second lowest score of the entire season. They got 5 players scoring in single digits and 1 player scored in the negative, and they lost by 63.38 points by a score of 152.18 to 88.8. The only team in the league to score under 100 points. And by the way, the Bootleg Crableg is now the lowest scoring team in the league on the season. The Bootleg Crableg fell 1 game behind the pace in what was arguably their biggest game of the season. And for that, the Bootleg Crableg is this week's GOAT. Guys, we need to talk about a bad beat. Once before in league history in 2014, we had multiple 200-plus point scoring teams in the same season. There were 2. This year so far, we've had 3. And for the first time in league history, we had 200-plus point scoring teams in back-to-back weeks. None of that is a bad beat. The bad beat is the fact that the first time in league history that we had 200-plus point scoring teams in back-to-back weeks, those teams both annihilated the same poor victim. The history books will note that in Week 10, 2018, the Golden Showers saw 214.9 points, and then in Week 11, they had a front row seat for 211.08. This time, from this week's hero, Team Blumpkin. They were led by a titanic 51.5 points from Ty Freak, the second highest individual player total of the year. Can you remember who number 1 was? Anyway, poor sweet the Golden Showers got rolled again, and Team Blumpkin took a firm grasp on a playoff spot with 2 games left, and their own destiny in their grip as well. And for that, Team Blumpkin is this week's hero. Alright guys, we have some great games to take a look at in Week 12, but before we get to that, it's still technically Week 11, so that means it's time for another episode of Odd Sundays. So let's head south to an undisclosed barrier island for a point of view that's just a tad askew.
Hello, Sunny Billions. I hope you had a happy extra day of football day. I had a very tumultuous one, but not as bad as the turkey. I'd like to list the following things that I'm thankful for this year. A very understanding commissioner. I'm thankful that I'm neither a Redskins fan nor a Native American. And I'm really happy that I'm not the losing quarterback in my home state. I'm thankful for Russell Wilson, who, besides the Pacific Northwest climate, is the only thing keeping the Seahawks franchise from turning into an actual dumpster fire. I'm thankful for the accidental turf malfunction that kept the Monday Night Football game from going to Mexico. Yeah. Most of all, I'm thankful I don't work for the Lions franchise, who every year has to suffer through wasting this beautiful 4-day weekend participating in whatever the hell that is. Thanks. Bye.
All right, thanks, Colin. We'll see you in 2 weeks. This is always the part where, like, I don't see Odd Sundays before I do this. So, like, I'm always wondering right now whether I had to edit something out. And this week, I got, like, a warning, like, you know, that Colin may have gone extra hard this week. So I'm real excited to see how Odd Sundays turned out. And if it didn't, I will just edit this shit out. Okay, guys, key matchups. We have 3 extremely important key matchups. Like I said earlier in the show, the schedule set up absolutely perfectly in Week 11, and it did it again in Week 12. All 6 of the current playoff teams are facing off against each other. Low seed versus high seed, and sort of like a preview of, you know, if the playoffs started right now type of a situation. Okay, we have, and all of them are divisional matchups. We have the 8-3 Toddler Fight Club taking on 6-5 Gotham Rogues. Okay, a Porter Division battle where these teams are separated by around 300 points in the standings. Obviously, Toddler Fight Club 8-3 holds the 300 give or take point lead over the Gotham Rogues. Gotham Rogues, they are the current 6th seed. They are also the low man as far as points are concerned, so as far as tiebreakers, should they be tied with anybody, they are very, very vulnerable. So they're probably the most must-win of any of the current playoff teams. The Gotham Rogues also was one of the teams that actually beat Toddler Fight Club. In Week 5, they beat Toddler Fight Club by 6.44 points. It was a close game back then. And they hung one of Toddler Fight Club's 3 losses. So Toddler Fight Club is going to be looking for not only revenge, but to sort of get a real stranglehold over the Porter Division. Also in the Porter Division, we have the 8-3 Drunken Bums taking on the 6-5 Team Blumpkin. Now, these teams are separated by about 200 points in the standings, but not in the way that you would think. Team Blumpkin is actually out in front of the Drunken Bums, who has a horseshoe up his ass. Team Blumpkin is currently the 4 seed, and they could make some noise if these 2 teams end up tied at the end of the season, which is possible. Team Blumpkin, like I said, holds a significant points lead, so there could be a lot of flip-flopping in the standings. And in Week 5, the Drunken Bums defeated Team Blumpkin by 8.88 points. So Team Blumpkin looking to get a little revenge there. And finally, in the number 2's division, we have 8-3 Rutherford B. Hazy taking on 6-5 Sweep the Leg. 10 points separate these 2 teams in the standings. So kind of close. Rutherford B. Hazy can clinch, as we said before, they can clinch the division with a win this week or a win next week. All they have to do is win 1 game. They are the division champs. They get the first round bye. However, if they lose out and both of these 2 teams are tied, because they're so close in the points, anything is possible. Sweep the Leg won their previous matchup in Week 5 by 13.08 points. It should be very interesting to see how this one plays out. So that's it, guys. Week 11 update over. Remember to set your lineups. Remember that Capri Bibs literally translates to very short baby apron. And I will see you guys next week, where it's always sunny.